Welcome tonight to our TMBT Media podcast. Tonight, once again, today is November 21st, 2022, and we're blessed to have one of our newest clients, Jordan Jones, who is currently in his fourth year of playing professional basketball in Australia. He's also an actor on the NBC hit show La Brea, and he's also doing some modeling while he is in Australia, as well as training kids. So this young man is giving back to his community, no matter where he is. His name is Jordan Jones, newest TMBT Pro client, born and raised in Newport News. Jordan, can you hear me, brother? You there?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Good, man. Thanks for joining us tonight. I know you and I have been trying to. I know you're currently in Melbourne, Australia. So you and I have been trying to get this podcast done for quite some time. We have a time difference, I believe you said, of 12 hours. What's the time difference between you guys in Australia and us here on the East Coast?
Right now it's 9 a.m. I believe it is, 7 p.m. there, Mr. Bell?
Yes, it is 5 p.m.
Oh, 5 p.m.? So I believe it's about, it's something about 14 hours ahead, I believe?
Yeah.
12 to 14 hours?
Yeah, sounds about right. Talk to us a little bit about yourself. First of all, welcome to our TMBT family. We know you have been signed to us for about 2 weeks now, and you are very unique as a client. We've never had a client that asked to be a part of our family, that wanted to be a part of our basketball family, who is having as much success as you are in your off the court strategy and your brand. And it sounds like you have figured it out, young fella. It sounds like you have learned that this basketball, I will be able to parlay into many other things, and abroad, those things are even easier to obtain because you are a quote-unquote star in another country. And so talk to us a little bit tonight for our listeners that are just getting a chance to meet you and learn who you are. Tell us a little bit about who Jordan Jones is.
Well, again, thank you, Mr. Bell, for having me on this platform and having me a part of the family. Well, my name is, like Mr. Bell was saying, I'm Jordan Jones, born in Newport News, Virginia, 1990. So grew up in the early 90s in Newport News, just around my family mostly. Grew up uptown, so around Denby area. My dad went to Denby, and I graduated from Woodside, so it's pretty cool. You know, my dad has a good name in my family in Newport News, so I'm just trying to add on to the legacy with this basketball. High school was pretty rough. I was cut my sophomore and senior year. And but I think that was one of the best things that happened to me because it gave me the extra fuel and extra drive to outwork my opponents and outwork the competition. And it gave me that chip on my shoulder to this day. And after being cut from my sophomore senior year, I was blessed and fortunate to transfer from Suffolk back to Newport News at my grandma's house. And I graduated at Woodside High School, played my senior year, averaged about 12 to 13 points a game. Which is pretty good, coming into a new situation all of a sudden. Didn't get any scholarships. My grades weren't as good. I wasn't as focused as I am now in high school. So I had about a 2.2 GPA, which I really regret. So for any students or athletes out there listening right now in high school, try to get your grades high as possible because it makes your life a lot easier, trust me. But it's all good. I wouldn't change my path because it made me the man I am today. I went to JUCO, the JUCO route. So I played in Prince George Community College, 2010. I graduated in 08. I took a year off just to get some money and do some community college near home to earn credits. So I went to go play PG, Community College 2010. And I had a great season. I came off as a walk-on, basically. The coaches liked my character. That's another point I want to teach to the youth is that your character could take you a long way. And my hard work ethic and my dedication, I was able to start by the 7th game. I finished average about 13 points. And I had a couple looks from NJIT, which is in New Jersey, Bowie State, and I had a really good season. And I was a guy that just came out of nowhere. But unfortunately, it was part of my story. Like always, something happens. My coach, Coach Waddy, which was a legendary coach, Hall of Famer at George Mason University, retired at Prince George the next year. So I transferred JUCOs, and I not knowing about losing credits when you transfer, and I had the red shirt my sophomore year. So after that kind of hurt my recruiting. I bounced around the schools from Shawan University to University of Central Missouri, and couldn't find my way with the team. And fortunately, I finished off at Frostburg State at a Division III in Maryland in 2015, which I played my senior year. But unfortunately, my coach didn't really fit me in like that. I only played about 6 games. But every game I played, I averaged about 12 to 13. Like, that's probably my average for most of my high school, college career, 12 to 13. And, I did pretty good. I had some good film for my days. And, I just kept working out after school around 2015, 16, I was out. To be honest, Mr. Bell, because I want to be real with the people, I was out doing things I wasn't supposed to be doing. After college, couldn't find a job, and I was doing things I wasn't proud of. So, I got on my knees one day, and I really asked God, could he really put basketball back in my life? And he definitely blessed me with that opportunity. 2 weeks later, a college teammate of mine calls me and says, I think you're good enough to play in Australia. And he was in Australia at the time. I didn't know he was Australian at all. But he was black and Australian. I thought he was mixed with black and American. So gave me the opportunity to come out there and just try it, Mr. Bell. So that was around 2018. I flew to South Australia, Adelaide. And I didn't have an agent, didn't have a team in interest, just went on God's willing and just tried. And that's the whole point of my career, just trying your hardest. I went to Adelaide, and at first I played on a domestic recreation team just to get my name out there. They're pretty good. They averaged about 34, but it wasn't real competition, just to get my name around the city. I went to Europe after that, my 3-month visitation, because my friend was playing in Europe, and I tried out for a team in Hungary. I made the Division II league, and that really proved to me that I was good enough to play overseas. Did a couple practice games, but unfortunately, when the money came in and the contracts, I could not play in Europe due to, if they gave me the visa, that would be equivalent to my payment. So I didn't want to play for free. I had to earn some type of money, so I went back to Australia, and I started playing for my first professional team, which was the Central Lions, which is in NBL 1. But unfortunately, I broke my foot as soon as I got back playing basketball. I was only able to play the last 3 games. So, I have a new visa, so I'm good. I didn't want to go home, so I started my own brand on training kids. I always loved kids, and I always loved basketball, so I wanted to correlate the both. And my brand is called Belief Academy, so that's how I got my name bigger as well around the city, and teams started to recognize me. They see me working in the community. So for those out there that plays overseas basketball, you have the opportunity on your free time. I suggest you should train kids. It's good money. You don't know what you'll get from each parent, because each parent brings something different. And you being alone in this country, it can help, trust me. It can help to have people like that on your side. So once they realize you care for the kids and you helping them get better, they'll go the extra mile for you. So as long as you're just a good person and work hard overall and try hard, I think you can make it work. So that's overall my story. And when I got done with my first year, I only played 3 games, stayed in Adelaide, and I was blessed and fortunate to have a Chicago coach out there named Sean Tucker, who's an NBL legend here. And he liked me, my hard work, and he brought me along to Forestville, which was an NBL club, which was one of the best clubs in Adelaide. My first club, Central Lions, was one of the worst clubs, so it was a big difference from the work ethic they had in practice, and it just reminded me of home. So I fell in love with that, played a season NBL 1, which is the second highest league in Australia. I did pretty well, averaged about 10, 7, and 7. It was my first time playing point guard since college. But I had a great time doing it, and we was fortunate because this was during COVID-19 year. But since South Australia had no numbers, we were able to play. And I was able to get film and play my second year in Australia, which was a big, big, big year for me. So the next year, we're going in year 3, and it's only 2 Americans allowed per team in NBL 1. Forestville, we had 2 teams, A team and B team. I was on the B team, but we all played in the NBL 1 league. So I was fortunate enough for that opportunity as well, and to earn that film at that level. And I earned a new deal in a new city, bigger city in Melbourne, Victoria, and that's how I got here. Sherbrooke Suns, which was in the Big B conference, Big Victoria, overseas league in Australia. Not as good as the NBL 1, but still they paying. And I didn't know the difference. It's right fresh out of COVID-19. I went to my coach, and he didn't know what it was, but he said, they paying Jordan, so you should go. So I decided to go. And I went to Melbourne, Victoria, Mr. Bell, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. It was rough at first because when I got there, the team was lovely. They treated me good. But COVID happened again. Melbourne was longest lockdown in the world, actually, for COVID. So when I got here, the lockdown was off. And then a month in, we went back to lockdown. So we went back to lockdown. I'm in a new city, don't know as much people, and I can't work. Basketball's my job. So I'm training kids online, the kids I kind of know from my old area, to earn some money, but it's not enough. And fortunately, I had to leave the house I was living in because I wasn't playing anymore. I didn't have the car, so it's funny, Mr. Bill, I really shouldn't say this, but I'm going to keep it real with you, the people out there. My mom doesn't know this. I became homeless in Melbourne for about almost 2 weeks. So I was Airbnb houses out, trying to figure out what to do. But something always told me, Mr. Bill, not to go back to Adelaide and not to go back home. So I say, you know what, something is telling me to stay here and make it work. So I stayed, Mr. Bill. Fortunately, I met somebody, a good friend of mine to this day, David Catherine. He helped me get into a home, and he's still my best friend here as well. Helped me get back on my feet. And as well as him helping me, I had to figure out I just can't sit around and just not do anything. So I used my brain, and I saw people were making money taking pictures online, Mr. Bell, here in Australia. And it wasn't nothing special. It was just people taking pictures in certain clothing or certain angles. And I said to myself, I can do that. So I started doing that. And I started contacting companies. I wrote down, maybe, no exaggeration, Mr. Bell, 100 companies. And maybe 3, I emailed 100 companies, maybe 3 hit me back, 3 or 4. But it was paid jobs. And I actually started my modeling career just about like that. I went to contact the Bushy Underwear, and that was my first photo shoot. And then I went from that to Threadheads, which is a t-shirt company, to Gang Drink Energy, which is a pre-workout company. So I just did that. And after my third shoot, Mr. Bell, so I posted my pictures on Facebook just to let people know I was a model in this area. And after that, I was fortunate to get a modeling deal for a year with DKM Models. And that's why I got the opportunity to work on a movie 4, which is a sci-fi movie as a fill-in. I also got the opportunity to work on a TV show, La Brea, Season 2, that's airing right now. I've been able to work on a Bollywood movie. It's going to be shown on Netflix, hopefully soon. It's a security guard, which is really fun. And I just done recently a photo shoot with Adidas and Perler T-shirts as well as like this previous week. So I was very fortunate. I didn't give up on my dream or quit any time. And for those out there that want to be a professional, I want to just let you know it's not easy at all. No matter what level you go to, it's not easy. It's a grind. But as long as you're a good person, you work hard and good to people, I honestly think you can make it. So right now I'm going to my 4th year, and I'm so excited because I'm with a new agency, the Milton Family, and I'm very excited to be with Mr. Bell because I've seen his journey, and I just appreciate him giving back his knowledge to the youth, and that's what I'm trying to do as well as I go through my journey. And for him to give me an opportunity to maybe come to Argentina and earn a basketball contract in a new country, in a big country like that, and I'm just grateful. And I want to continue to play until I'm about 40, I used to say 35, but Mr. Bell convinced me to keep going
45,
as long
right?
as you can. Keep
45,
going as long as you can.
exactly. Keep
yes,
going.
sir.
Keep going.
Keep going as long as you can. As long as God's blessed you with the health and knowledge and, you know, that good spirit to keep going, why not? You know, travel the world and give back. And this is what you love to do, and you make money off it. Why wouldn't you want to do it to that long? And I was thinking about it, and I totally agree. If I can, I'm going to do it till the wheels fall off. But God has also shown me a new lane with the modeling and acting. I'm very blessed because the money from that is very good. And I never thought in a million years I'd be doing this. So I'm 32 now, and I have to make the decision, you know, to see, you know, if I will come to Argentina for a season or continue to model or act. Just seeing what deals are coming up to play before, you know, Argentina starts up. And then I'll make my decision. I'm just fortunate to have options in a new country like this, a beautiful country that's safe. And God is just good. And I always preach that to the youth and basketball players around the world, or anybody really that's trying to upgrade to the next level. Because not only am I, you know, playing basketball, is modeling, I'm also starting my clothing brand as well for my training company called Believe Academy, and the clothing line is called Believe, BE7, IEVE. And the reason I picked the 7 instead of an L because I teach the youth that we don't accept L's, losses. We just learn from them. All right, so we turn the L upside down to a 7. And another reason is 7 is my hometown area code, 757 of Virginia. So I wanted to correlate where my hometown is and a good message for the kids. So I'm starting my sock line, which will be out hopefully before Christmas. I just got that design. And just really working, Mr. Bell, to break that generational curse my family has. Even though my dad has already done that, I feel like my dad sacrificed so much, I got to at least try to do more than he's done. And I'm very thankful for my dad and my mom, my family, and the roots of my family that showed me what hard work does. And they taught me this, Mr. Bell, to be honest with you, to have no fear, be vulnerable, you know, go for what's yours. You know, you never want to go through life saying, like, what if? And I feel like, you know, that's what I'm doing right now, just going as hard as I can and using my time wisely. And hopefully, you know, in a couple of years, you see me as, you know, the next Percy Miller or, you know, Sean P. Diddy Combs. That's my goal. I'm not really trying to be the next Derrick Rose or John Moran anymore. I'm more so looking at guys like LeBron James, how he does behind the scenes, or guys like Jay-Z, you know, guys I can really look up to and say, man, they making business moves and using their craft to make money in other avenues. And that's my ultimate goal. So hopefully one day I can, you know, run camps all around the world and give this message and give this game to kids and, you know, get paid from it.
Well, that's big, young fella. As I tell you all the time, before we continue, I want to give you a chance to, for our listeners, you have a great story. For our listeners to try to understand a little bit more about who Jordan Jones is, I want you to share your social media handles that you have so that people can kind of go to your Facebook or IG or Twitter and kind of figure out who they are and understand your story as they take the journey with us on this podcast. So go ahead and share those now, if you will.
My Instagram is Scotty Jones 75, the number 75, Scotty Jones 75. My Twitter is Umile, Umile Jones, Umile. My Facebook is Scott Darren, SCOTT, space DARRYN. And the reason I chose Scott Darren, my dad's name is Scott, and my Uncle Craig, last name is Darren. And those are my two heroes, so I combine that. And my email, if you want to email me as well, check my email daily, is 3Js, JJJONES, the number 0, the number 1, at mail.com, MAIL.com. That's my social media.
Okay. Yes. Quite an interesting story. And for those of you that have questions and want to get in contact with Jordan, feel free. You guys can contact us here at our company email, which is milton.bell@miltonbellbasketball.com. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to call us with any questions for myself or for Jordan, our cell phone number is area code 702-908-1501. And feel free to reach out to myself or Jordan Jones, who, and by the way, we apologize if we're having some sound difficulties. I think we're going in and out. He's calling from Melbourne, Australia, at this current moment. And so we apologize to our listeners in case we have some delays or what have you. I'm sure everyone can understand how it is dealing with overseas communication, right? So, talk to us a little bit, Jordan, about your upbringing in Newport News. You mentioned your father and your Uncle Craig. I heard you mention a part of Newport News. I think you said the bottom. So, is that the bottom?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, is that up Warwick Boulevard?
Yeah, Warwick. Yes, sir. I'm near Denby Boulevard. Zion Drive as well. My grandma's house. Yes, sir. You might know a little something, Mr. Bell.
Right, I do, brother. Yes, I do. I went to Norfolk State University, and we spent. I spent lots of time on Christopher Newport campus in Newport News,
yes,
and so I'm born and raised in 804. Yes, but I understand 757 very well. I took classes at Norfolk State University, so I'm gonna tell you all the time that we're proud of you, because it's not normal that you have a young African American man who makes it out of that Newport News area and uses basketball as his vehicle and has parlayed it into an appearance on an NBC program. La Brea, you're into modeling, you're training kids down there. So you have seen most at your age. You've seen more than most people from that are 70, 60 years old. And so that's a blessing. I'm glad that whenever I talk to you, you understand that it's a blessing that God has bestowed upon you for you to travel the world and to be able to live out your dream of playing basketball, but also getting into several other lanes that you can see on a daily basis that are lucrative as well. And it's good to see young people setting up their afterlife after basketball, right? So many of us, we don't think about our next career until basketball is over, right? I think that the smart way to do it is the way you're doing it. You see other guys like Draymond Green, these guys getting into the media world. Draymond Green has started his own media company as well. Patrick Beverly. You also see CJ McCollum and these guys, Danny Green. These guys are constantly appearing on ESPN, FS1, Fox Sports, whatever you have. So these guys are slowly but surely making their entrance as they're making that exit. And so it's pretty amazing what you're doing, young fella. And as I tell you, maintain your focus. Clearly, God has something major planned for you. You are, I'm experiencing it. You're living the life that all men should strive to live, young men should strive to live. And so we are blessed to have you today on our TMBT Media podcast. Talk to us for those guys that have never played in the NBL 1 in Australia. Talk to us about that grind, playing in Australia. We know the Ball brothers play there as well. Talk to us about the lifestyle that you're currently experiencing of a pro basketball player. The name of this podcast is the Pro Basketball Culture. So I'm kind of let the listeners in on a daily routine of Jordan Jones in Melbourne, Australia.
Yes, sir. I'm going to give you the real too, Mr. Bell. I'm going to give you the exact real how it is in Australia. Basketball scene.
Great. Yes, that's what we're looking for.
NBL is the top league, Mr. Bell, which is the Ball brothers. Melo Ball played in. Also, Josh Giddey, that's what was drafted. He played in that league as well. So, unfortunately, I'll be honest with you guys, I wasn't good enough to play in the NBL. NBL is literally probably right under the NBA. So the guys that get here for the NBL now are borderline NBA players. For example, Aaron Baines for the Phoenix Suns are here now. Matt Dellavedova is here playing right now. They got some good players now in the NBL. It's not like 10 years ago. It's more advanced. They have ties with the NBA. That's why you see a lot of players from the Australian League, NBL, going to the NBA. R.J. Hampton, for example, another one with Orlando Magic. So they got a couple players in now. So fortunately, I played in the league right under that. And I get to play with those guys because after their season, they play with us, the Australians. So the NBL 1 is a combination of the off season for the NBL. So I was great and fortunate to play with the guy like DJ, I got his name, that plays for LA 36ers. He's one of the best players I've ever played against, big man. I played against Malik McCarr, which is played for Melbourne United, 6'9" guard. Man, it's ballers in Australia. It's not just white boys you think out here. It's Africans out here. It's literally a culture pot here. So, and to be honest with you, I'm always going to keep it real. The white boys are more advanced now. So they are better. They are more skilled now. So it's not like 10 years ago in Australia. They're more advanced now. But to be honest, Mr. Bell, I honestly believe Australia's pretty good, but they don't grow up like we grew up. They don't understand the extra grind. They don't understand that basketball is life. So that's the difference between Australia and America, why we still have that edge. We start from 3 years old at that court. These guys probably would start at 7, 6. So it's still a difference, but they are advancing. So I don't want people to come over here thinking, oh, it's going to be easy, because you have to work at a professional level no matter what. NBL 1 was the hardest practices I had, the most competitive league I played in. Every team I played against had some good Australians. And as a guard, I have to say this, Mr. Bell, if you're a guard and you're not an NBL level guard, you need to come bust your ass, excuse my language, Mr. Bell, every single day. Because they would replace you in a heartbeat. If you're a guard and you get able to get a deal in any league, in my opinion, and you're not in the top league, you have to bust your butt harder than anybody on that team. You cannot leave when they leave. You can't hang with guys the same way. You have to work if you want to come back the next year in advance. It's just what it is. Because all they tell me to this day, I'm still trying out for teams. And they say, you know what, we got our guards. We just want bigs. I just played in this league, played in the same country for 3 years already now. Good rapport. I work with the community, and they still telling me, certain teams, that they just want a big. And it's okay, because it's the journey. It's what I chose to do. And I love the process, because I know I'm going to find another team. I know I'm going to continue to write my journey. And but overall, Australia is a great place. Big V is another division that I played in last year. It's a big step down, Mr. Bell, from NBL 1 to, in my opinion, from the lack of sources they have. It's the oldest league here, but it's just so many teams. I think it's watered down. It's about 50 teams in the Big V division from championship D1, D2. So in NBL 1, it's just one division per state. Mm-hmm. So I like NBL 1 a little bit more, but it's a little bit more political too, unless you have somebody to have your back, which I had a Chicago coach that coached at Forestville. That's why I had the opportunity to play NBL 1. So it's basically sometimes who you know as well. So now I'm probably going to play Big V again at a higher division. Hopefully I have trials tonight. The trials go on for about 2 weeks, so just going to go in and try to work hard and just take somebody's jersey. Basically, that's it. And I think, overall, Australia is a tough league, but if you just be that dog that we raised to be in America, just be that leader, it should be fine for you. But you got to work hard. It's easy to get caught up, trust me. The girls, the fake love, the Instagram stuff, it's easy to get caught up, especially out here because English-based. Everybody speaks English. Everybody love Americans. It's easy to fall into that. A lot of Americans come here and they don't get invited back out because they come out here and party and this and that. And I'll get invited back out every year. So that just shows like my character and my hard work. So I just want everybody that's listening, just make sure you come out. Whatever country you're going to, go out there focused, man. Yes, you're going to get girls. Yes, you're going to get free invites to the club. But that's just a test to me from, the man above to see if you really want this. It's easy to go to that stuff, man, but you work so hard to get here. I think you still need to put the extra work in while you're here. So wherever country you go to, I just think you need to be the hardest worker. Stay in that gym, and you be good to go. Actually, just stay in the gym. And there's so much stuff going on in the world right now. It's probably no place you'd rather be, but in the gym, honestly. So that's just my advice, Mr. Bell, for Australian basketball, overseas basketball, and how to stay on the top level, no matter what league you're going to.
Right, right. Talk to us a little bit about, as you said, you touched on some great points. The listeners are getting a chance to understand why you and I talk often about life and talk basketball, and that you have your blueprint, you have your plan where you're trying to go, and you're making the steps and are making the right moves to get there. And unfortunately, all young men don't think like you do. They feel as though I can do whatever and I'll be prepared. And they're not. Especially for basketball, you have to be prepared for the opportunity. We have guys that are going down in January for job interviews. You have to be prepared for the job when you go to the job interview if you're looking to get the job. That's what that's at Philip Morris, and that's at DuPont, that's at Google, at Apple, at BMW, wherever you're looking to get a job. You have to do some type of preparation. I don't care who you are and what it is you're trying to do. You, for instance, training kids, you have to prepare. You have to take off your player hat and put on your teaching hat and put yourself back in the shoes of those kids and to remember what you needed at that age. I think that's one of the biggest things and one of the coolest things for me as an old guy, being able to remember back. And when whenever we do have events for our TMBT youth, I try to get them pizza and have fun and play and all of that stuff that I would have wanted to do. So it's pretty easy for guys like you and I that look to become teachers at the game of basketball. We just have to remember back. Of course, it's a little bit harder for me because I'm older than you. But we just have to remember back to what we wanted as a young kid, man. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but it's fun to be an old guy that's able to give back, right? And sometimes kids don't want monetary things. They don't want money. They just want love. And they want you to teach them something and spend time with them and talk to them and show them that they matter. So I'm sure you are realizing and you will be blessed. I'm sure the more that you pull people up with you on your way up, the more God will help you climb to the top, if that makes any sense what I'm saying. So that's incredible what you're doing, man. And we're hoping, I know you guys start back up in February, and so we're hoping to get you down to Argentina coming up in the new year, 2023.
Yes, sir.
And once you guys finish with your number one priority, of course, is the Argentine League, but we want to get you down and hopefully get you acclimated, especially with your resume. I don't think it'll be a problem to get you. We're hoping that it'll be easier with your resume than someone who's just starting off, never played pro basketball before. This is your fourth year playing high-level basketball. So we're looking forward to that day, and I'd like to speak it into existence when you sign your new deal down in Argentina or down in our TMBT network down in South America. So I like to speak stuff into existence. I like to talk about it. You and I talk about the future and where I see you going. But, of course, you have to want to do these things and want to go and want to I'm sure the word that comes to mind for me is becoming complacent, because you're doing great things there. And so most of the time when people are doing something and they're good at it and they're getting paid for it, they don't look for new opportunities. They look to be, they're happy where they are. Very few people only look for different opportunities or different options when things aren't going well. When things are going well, people don't look to do anything else. So it's big what you're doing. You contacted us about going to Argentina and about going to Chile and participating. So that's big that you are not complacent and not stagnant, steady trying to move up. I think that says a lot about you. That says a lot about you. let's see. Today is November 21st, 2022. A lot going on in the world. But one thing that I would want to ask you about, because you're close to his age, the Kyrie Irving situation and what's going on with him. What are you feeling? What are you hearing as a young professional basketball player in Australia? What's being said about the situation? It seems to be worldwide, and I think Kyrie even, I think he has an Australian passport, if I'm not mistaken, because his father had him while he was living in or playing in Australia. What is your take on all this, Jordan Jones, young actor, model, basketball coach, professional basketball trainer? Where do you see the Kyrie Irving situation today, and what are your sentiments about it? Let's say you put yourself in his shoes. Talk to us a little bit about a young professional basketball player's perspective.
I honestly, I'm a fan of Kyrie on and off the court. What he posted about, the movie, I didn't see the movie. I didn't really do research on the movie, but I did research on the situation at hand. And I think, of course we don't want to offend any race, any culture, because me as a black man, I'm always preaching equality. So that's all I want in the world for everyone. Me being from Virginia, consider the South, especially my area, it's a lot of racism. So I want all equality for everyone, first off. But I don't think, me following Kyrie, I've been following Kyrie since high school. I don't think I've ever seen him do anything derogatory towards any race, disrespectful towards any child, any woman. So I think the media's kind of blowing it out of proportion, just my opinion. What they had set for him to come back and play with all the rules and regulations, to me, it seemed a little harsh. But of course, the league is ran by, the owner's Jewish. It's politics and everything, Mr. Bell. And of course, let's be serious, let's be realistic here. As a black man in this world, you're a target, especially if you got money and talents that Kyrie has. So any excuse they give, any excuse they can have or get you, they'll use it. But I do commend Kyrie for sticking on. It's what he believes in, from the COVID thing to this. I mean, it may rub some feathers wrong. I don't agree with some of the viewpoints on the movie, but that's his viewpoint. And last time I checked, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but it seems like now we can't even speak our mind. And it's funny, the only thing I don't like about this, Mr. Bill, is that, they literally try to, towards black athletes, they really make an example of them. But when Ben Roethlisberger for the Pittsburgh Steelers gets a rape case, it's not talked about as much. It's probably talked about one time on SportsCenter, but a man posts a movie about his opinion, and he's talked about for 3 weeks. It's like, wow. You know what I mean? Brett Favre just got caught, stealing money from Mississippi, one of the poorest states in America, one of the most, biggest black communities in America. He's stealing money from the community to build field hockey. I think it's a field hockey house for the Ole Miss program, because his daughter's attending there. But nobody talks about that. We'll talk about Kyrie Irving. We'll talk about all the other stuff, but we want to talk about everything. So I see, I diff a lot of viewpoints on that. Again, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, or I preach equality for everyone, but I feel like Kyrie was kind of sacrificed, and they kind of make an example of him. Because I really don't. I don't agree with the consequences he got. It was kind of harsh, but it's over with now. He's playing. He looks good. I seen him play against Memphis yesterday, so hopefully moving forward, he can continue to earn his money playing basketball. I think Nike was a little harsh for let him lose his shoe contract. But again, Mr. Bell, I'm not on that level, so I can't really speak on it, but so much. It's just my opinion. And I'm just glad to see Kyrie back out there playing and doing what he loves to do.
Definitely, man. Definitely. We had whenever we have one of our clients on, or whatever we're doing podcast wise, we always try to ask the opinion of the people, because Of course, you are close to Kyrie's age, and you're currently playing pro basketball. And so, I love to hear what our guys have to say, our African American young men, and it's a beautiful thing to hear you guys describe your feelings and how society makes you feel. I think it's something that is not talked about enough. How our youth feels today. They feel pressured. They feel pressured to do well. They feel pressured to do well in school. They feel pressured to do well in sports. Then you got to feel pressure to go to college. Feel pressure to finish college. Then you feel pressure to get a job. So it's leading up, and it seems, especially with the George Floyd circumstance, our youth seem to be frustrated, and I think it showed in the protests from George Floyd and the racial inequalities that are taking place. And so it's good to see that someone, even though you are on the other side of the world, you're still tuned in and plugged into what's going on back here, and still doing the things that you have to do to be successful there, but still tuned in to what's going on in your native country. So that says a lot about you. Says a lot about you and what it is you're trying to do. Before we close up, I would like to ask you about the show. And my wife and I, we're going to start watching the show just because of you. I've seen it 1,000 times, but talk to me a little bit about La Brea. And I know it's filming in Australia, but share a little bit. Of course, this will be part one of your interview. We'll have more to follow. But talk to us a little bit about the La Brea series, man. That personally was always one of my dreams, was to be a professional basketball player, but to be an actor, man. I always wanted to go to Hollywood, never been to Hollywood and been around those type of things, man. Talk to us a little bit about that, brother. That has to be pretty dreamy, as the young people say. That's a dream job, man. Talk to us a little bit about that. Before we let you go, I'm going to get you to tell us some of the great things that is going on in Hollywood and at the NBC network.
Well, first off, Mr. Bell, I got to give my glory to God. I'm very religious, and I feel like before anything, you got to have faith in God, man. And Mr. Bell, like I said, I was going through not a hard time at this point. When I became modeling, I was getting better, but it still was kind of difficult. So, I was praying to God, like, can you please, help me advance in this modeling acting lane? And he heard my prayer, and I randomly got an email saying that, La Brea was looking for a fill-in for the main character, which is Chike, a brother from Britain, and we got real close up there. He's worked with Gabrielle Union. He's worked on 12 Years of Slavery, the movie. He's worked on Call of Duty, the video game. He's the main voice on that video game. So I got to have a good relationship with Chike. And so to get on the show, I got an email. We got the same complexion, Mr. Bell. So, it's kind of like that, Mr. Bell. I'm not going to show up my career and say like kind of cheating the system, as my uncle says, to be funny, that it's less competition here. But it's not that many blacks, Mr. Bell, doing what I'm doing.
Hey.
So I feel like, hey, Mr. Bell, out here in this area, I'm going to at least stand out a little bit, so why not go in that field?
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yes, sir. So I tried it, Mr. Bell, modeling the acting, and they called me on the set, Mr. Bell. They gave me an interview. They put me in some outfits, and they asked me a couple of questions, and they liked who I was as a man and as a model and actor, and they invited me on set. Mr. Bell, it was so nerve-wracking just to be around, head directors and, head actors that's been on movies. Like I said, work with actors that we all know and love. But, it's Mr. Bell, it's like my dad always taught me, as long as you're a stand-up person, man, no matter who in the room, they gonna respect you. And so, me, just being myself, Mr. Bell, respect for everybody, mingling, asking questions when it's needed, being close to the set at all times, being focused on what I need to do, because as a fill-in, I'm basically the main character stunt double, just without the lines. So what I do is his walk pattern, his hand movements, some lines, so he doesn't have to do it 100 times. So the camera records me to see like how he would look in the placement of where we're shooting the scene at. Because we had the same skin complexion, so they want to see how it looks in the lighting, etc. So what I do is I go in there and do 20 sets of what he does, and then he comes and does it. And being on set, Mr. Bell, is not easy. You be on set from about 8 a.m. to about 6 p.m. But what I love about it, Mr. Bell, I'm always learning. I'm getting good money. I'm always learning. I'm meeting great people, high-ranking people, to be honest with you. For example, I'm working on Foe, the movie, which is a sci-fi movie coming out soon, shot in Docklands, which is here in Australia, but will be shot in America. And he was sitting with me. His name is Garth Brooks, head director of the movie Foe and other movies. He said, Jordan, I see big things from you, man. And I said, why you say that, Mr. Garth? And he just told me, like, I can tell you're very focused, and I see you as being the next Jamie Foxx in Australia, like the next Jamie Foxx. You could be that. And ever since I heard that, Mr. Bell, I just went hard in acting and modeling. So no matter what I can do, my agency's good, so I went to a new agency, so whatever I can do, I try to do to get my name out there. I'm not really big on, like, amount of money that I get per model, shoot, or acting. I just like the jobs, because I'm building a resume. So, for example, I just did a Channel 9, which is a local channel out here in Australia. I did a background for a West Indies TV show. Mm-hmm. So all I had to do was dance, dance with a couple of females for the scene. And everything they told me, because again, I'm a black model here, actor, and they needed that for the West Indies look. So it's a lot of opportunity for us, Mr. Bell. We just don't know about it, in my opinion. And I was growing up in Virginia. I never thought in a million years I could go be a Denzel Washington or Will Smith. I didn't know how to go and do it. Virginia didn't have any model agencies or anybody knew that model, so I didn't know anything about that. I was far-fetched. But it's so much opportunity for us in that lane. People have no idea. It's lane for everything. Light skin, brown skin, big, skinny, big hair, curly hair. There's so much opportunity for us, but we have no knowledge to it. And that's why I want to do it as well, Mr. Bell, to show the kids where I'm from and around the world that work with me, like, if this don't work out, you can try this as well. You know what I mean? It's the same thing.
Or try it, even if it does work out, you can still try it, still do it. You can do two things at once, And,
absolutely.
And not to limit ourselves. And that's big what you're doing, not to limit yourself. Please continue. Please.
Absolutely, Mr. Bell. That was a great point. And also show people that you can do both or even more than that. Mr. Bell, like my coach from Chicago, Rashad Tucker, he said one thing to me, always stuck with me. Everyone has 24 hours in a day. But what you choose to do in your 24 is up to you. And that rung on me. So I tried, Mr. Bell, to, manage my time wisely and, don't waste time. So of course I have my off days, Mr. Bell. I want to relax. I've been doing a lot of stuff, but overall I try to stay on it, emailing people, emailing photographers, emailing coaches, letting people know I'm serious about my craft. And Australia, no offense to Australians, but they don't hustle like we hustle. It's just a fact. It's not.
They don't have to, though.
That's a fact.
They don't have to.
They don't have to, Mr. Bell. Exactly. So when you add that, Mr. Bell, to the active model and basketball here, they look at you like, wow. But in realistic, this is all we do back home. This is natural for us. So it's just being a good person, Mr. Bell, good character, speaking well is another thing, everybody out there. You can't go in a new lane, trying to be, what we were from our upbringings. Okay? It's better to, go in there trying to be a better version of the best version of yourself. That's what I would say. Try to be the best version of yourself. Don't try to be nobody else. Just try to be the best version of yourself. And if you try to do that each day and make yourself 1% better, you'd be surprised who notices it, who commends you for your journey. So I never thought in a million years I'd be having lunch with directors that work with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I work with some directors that worked on Expendables. For example, what's the other one? Ghost Rider. Guys like that, Mr. Bell. So I'm just fortunate. And I will always tell everybody, just work hard, be a good person, and man, have your faith in God, and He will take you past the limits you think you had expected for yourself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. You hit it on the head, brother. You, as I tell you all the time, you are I'm ahead of your time. But it's a testament to your family and your parents and everyone that poured into you their wisdom. And I'm sure everyone down in Newport News, your family, I'm sure everyone is proud of you, brother, because you're making me proud. And I've only been knowing you. You've only been a client for a month. So maintain your focus. Just keep on doing what it is you're doing. Keep your nose to the grindstone and just be open and receptive to what gifts God has for you, right? Any closing things that you want to shout out? Anyone you want to shout out from back home, or anyone you want to give some thanks to before we shut it down? And we'll also get you to repeat one more time your social media handles for those that are tuning in late or want to didn't get it the first time. We'll get you to repeat your social media handles for us.
Yes, sir. First, my Instagram is ScottyJones75. Facebook is Scott Darren. Email jjjones01@mail.com. And Twitter is UMile Jones. That's my Twitter. And I just want to give a shout out to you, Mr. Bell, first off, for, having me. Shout out to all the homies that's holding it down, still supporting me. All the kids that's under my training brand. My family, of course, my mom, dad, my brother, Darius, my Uncle Craig, my Aunt Sissy, the whole Jones family. Shout out to, like I said, the Bell family. I appreciate you guys for bringing me along, Mr. Bell. You have no idea. I feel, like I said, comfortable, and I feel like I'm finally with the right people. You know what I'm saying? I talked to a lot of agents, and it just was not sincere, genuine. And if anybody's looking for an agency that's willing to help you grow your career and somebody that actually cares about you and what you're doing with your career, I would say come in. The Milton Bell family for sure. Mr. Bell said I've been here about a month and a half, and we already talked about Argentina, what my plans are. He supported me with my work. He supported me if I wanted to stay here and continue to work. So it's just a good feeling being a part of this, Mr. Bell. So just shout out to you. And, of course, I got to finish off shout out to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because without him, I wouldn't even be here. So that's all my shout out, Mr. Bell. Thank you so much again for having me on this episode.
Yes, sir. Jordan Jones, it's a pleasure. Of course, you and I talk quite a bit, but for our listeners, TMBT Media podcast listeners around the world, we have a chance to have a new client aboard who will be with the group of more of our new clients and a mixture of our old clients. We're hoping that will lead us into this new year and will represent our company and represent our brand the way that we wish it to be represented, but represent themselves and their family, because yes, you do represent our company when you go to these job interviews, but you represent yourself and your father and your mother. And so it's a pleasure and an honor for us to have you as a client and have you as a very serious young man that seems to understand what our blueprint is and is willing to put in his workload, his own workload to get his own job. Because like we tell all of our clients, we can only get you to the job interview. It'll be up to you to show these teams that, as you've done for the past 4 years, that you're worth the money that they are willing to invest into that position for an American. So it'll be a testament to the work that you put in. And I'm sure you realize in your 4th year that you're going to get out of pro basketball what you put into it. I'm sure you realize that. Mm-hmm. So
absolutely.
So we're very proud of you. As we've said, man, maintain your focus, and we're looking for great things from you going forward in our TMBT network, but also continuing in your Australian leagues that you've been playing in. Also with your La Brea program on NBC, your modeling and your training, all these things you're doing on the other side of the world in Melbourne, Australia. So for us tonight at our TMBT podcast, we going to be signing off tonight with Jordan Jones, and we'll be having more podcasts coming up later this week, going into the holidays, and we're wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving coming up here. I think it's on Thursday coming up, and we're sending positive energy to Jordan and everyone around the world to be with family and friends, to have a great meal together, and to give thanks as a family. So we'll be signing off tonight for our TMBT Media podcast, TMBT Pro Basketball Culture. Thanks for joining us. We'll be checking in soon.